All right, Effective Fitness Training, Coach Dave here. Let's cover week 3 of the Valor cycle, June 10th to Saturday, June 15th, or however you align your training days. Let's get right into it. Our strength is bumping up to 7x3. So you build up to a heavy set of 3, and then you're doing 7 sets of 3. The movement this week is gonna be front squats. If you can't do front squats, I talk about it all the time, but maybe this is your first time hearing this, or maybe you're new to EFT, couple options. You could do the cross carry or the cross hold. You could use straps to extend your grip, or the easiest thing you can do, this is if you can't do front squats, is to do back squats with your heels elevated, as your heels as elevated as necessary to do a full range of motion squat. It's going to put you more upright. It takes the ankle range of motion issue out of it, so it'll put you more upright. The movement will be very, very similar to a front squat. That's going to be 7 sets of 3 after you build up to a heavy 3. So that it could be time consuming because you're basically building up to a near 3 rep max, not a full 3 rep max, because you want it to be as repeatable as possible, right? But heavy. So you're going to take the time to build up to a heavy 3, something that's challenging but doable, and then you're doing 7 sets of 3 after you get to that heavy 3. And then because that's time consuming, that's why you're seeing less accessories in this cycle. That along with the longer conditioning pieces. So for the conditioning, you're gonna have a running clock, 25 air squats, 20 hanging leg raises, 15 back squats at 155 or 115 pounds, whichever, and modify that weight based on your strength level. But the 155, 115 is kind of like a male-female, but it's, there are more suggestions than a rule. If you complete that within 4 minutes, you add another 4 minutes and you repeat. So you do the same thing and you try to do it again another 4 minutes. And then you will continue that as long as you're hitting the time goals. You will continue that for a maximum of 5 minutes or maximum of 5 rounds, which would be a total of 20 minutes. I try to explain it as best I could. Round 1 starts at 0 minutes. At 0 minutes, 0 seconds, you start the clock. You do 25 air squats, 20 hanging leg raises, 15 back squats at the prescribed weight roughly. If you are able to complete that, then with that continuously running clock, you do another round at the 4 minute mark. If you complete it again before the 8 minutes, then you do it at the 8 minute mark. So if you get it done in 3 minutes, you have a minute to rest. If you get it done in 2 minutes, you have 2 minutes to rest. So with whatever time is left before the start of the next round, you have that time to rest. Maybe by the time you're failing it, by the time like you're getting to where you don't have much left to put into it, you're like barely squeaking out a round, and then you got to just limp through, get what you can out of that last round. But the goal is to complete all 5 rounds, which would take you 20 minutes or slightly less if you do that last round in sub 4 minutes. Should be a fun one. It's kind of competitive with yourself. You have a time stressor where you have to get it done in a certain amount of time in order to continue within the workout. Congratulations. The reward for your hard work is more hard work, but isn't that law enforcement in general? Tuesday, June 11th. So this will be our upper body variation for yesterday as far as strength goes. 7x3, 3-second paused bench press. So you're pausing at the bottom of the bench. You're not resting it where the bar's just balancing on your chest. You are holding it where it's lightly touching. So there's still a lot of muscular tension. You hold that for 3 seconds and then you explode up as hard as you can for 3 reps, 7x3 after you build up to the heavy 3. Tuesdays have been our alternating short and sprint duration work capacity efforts. This one's gonna be 8 rounds for time, 10 burpees, 100-meter run. So that's basically like a shuttle run with 10 burpees on either end. What it'll end up being is 800 meters of running and 80 burpees, which isn't a ton of work, which means you can probably do it real fast. So this one's intended to be pushed really hard. You bang out those 10 burpees and you sprint and you keep pushing until those 8 rounds are done. Sandbag bear hug carry. If you don't have a sandbag, this is a finisher for Tuesday. Sandbag bear hug carry. If you don't have the sandbag, then you can just do a front rack, a barbell, however you see fit. Even if you don't have this like range of motion, you can hold it with your arms out like this. It looks weird on the camera. Just hold it across here, the shelf. It's going to be 2 rounds, a minute 30 total carry for each round, resting 1 to 2 minutes in between. Okay, that's our Tuesday. Wednesday's our active recovery day. Thursday, All right, we have our agility and we have our speed. Our speed is up to 175 meters. It's going to be 3 rounds of that this week. So 3 rounds, 175 meters. If you want to do a row variation, if maybe you're a little bit new to the game, you want to, you're not ready for full on foot sprints, which is unfortunate given your profession, but it's where you're at. So we look to meet you where you're at. An alternative is 225 meter sprint on a rower. And then conditions, this is going to be a longer one, not the longest of the week, but a longer one. 4-time, 3 rounds of 400 meter run, 10 deadlift at your body weight. So the bar and bumpers or steel iron plates combined to be your body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, then you're deadlifting 200 pounds. Obviously, that's the prescribed weight. That's the prescribed weight for the workout, but adjust based on your strength level. And then 20 box jumps at 20 inches. So 3 rounds of that, rest 5 minutes, and in that rest, you got to set up for the second half of this workout. The second half is a 400 meter run again, 10 bench press at 0.75% of your body weight, or 75% of your body weight, excuse me, and then 10 pull-ups, 3 rounds of that. So if you have multiple barbells and enough space, you could probably do this, get this all set up ahead of time, but many people are gonna have just one barbell, so you're gonna have to make that transition from deadlifts to bench press in between there, but you have a full 5 minutes. You know, you could probably move pretty slow and still get that accomplished. And the cool thing about this workout, it's based on your body weight, so relative strength matters. And yeah, it's a good one. I'm patting myself on the back at this point. Okay, moving on. Flex Friday is a continuation of what we've been doing. There's a progression to it, but make sure you're moving through a full range of motion. Make sure you're briefly pausing at the top and bottom of each movement, slow and controlled. Make sure you're really focusing on the muscle you're trying to build. That's all just feel good bodybuilding stuff. All right, for our TAC Saturday, the tactical skill integration is going to be either picking out a person that's in your area or looking up a picture of a random person on a random city street or random county road, and give yourself a brief amount of time to memorize as much information as you possibly can about that person, and as many descriptors about that person as you possibly can. And then you'll get into this workout, which is 20 rounds of 10 air squats, 10 push-ups, and I wrote it, power clean at 185 or 135. I wrote power clean as the prescribed movement. I put in there the sub is hang clean high pulls. So typically I've been writing hang clean high pulls as the main prescribed movement, with the substitute being power cleans. I'm putting it in there that as an option. I mean, and then the weight's heavy. So if you are not good with power cleans, especially if you've never done power cleans, don't go to 185 or 135 and just try to do this in this workout. Sub for that, let's do sumo deadlift high pulls, and we'll change the weights on it. So one power clean, 185, 135, it's a heavy power clean. So if that is not enough for you, I wrote in there in parentheses, make it heavy but doable. So 20 rounds of that, very monotonous, very boring, and then at the end of it, try to recall all those descriptors that you had on that person before. So you got to kind of keep your mind right in this when it gets boring and monotonous, and that will be a good one for us all to work on. That is week 3 of your main track of effective fitness training. If you got any questions, send us a message in the chats on the Train Heroic app. We're here for you. Otherwise, have a good week of training.